foolish. Try to get them funds up, killing the mic just like I ran the jewels. Then y'all gonna get done up front, knowing that kid with an attitude. But you can't really blame this motherfucker for what he had to do. I'm about that cash flipping, I'm getting it on and off the market. Not about that VIP, not me, not never been a fan of carpets. All about that RIP for all of my Jesus gone departed. All about that finish what I started, I'm about that.
Talk down like you're not ready. We ride, we're about that. So high we see the whole city. We own the night. Down like you're not ready. We ride, we're about that. So high we see the whole city. We own the night.
Know that I'm about it. Want a man I can bring the drama, but it ain't by chance I'm fucking rapping. You don't really want a problem. Made a little cash in the back end, but still rapping like homie starving. Yeah, y'all gotta ask who the man is. Hope I'm gonna be like, beg your pardon. I'm about that.
Talk down like you're not ready. We ride, we're about that. So high we see the whole city. We own the night. Down like you're not ready. We ride, we're about that. So high we see the whole city. We own the night.
Oh, yes, we do. And look at this. We have a packed house today, boys. We got 7 of us talking about local sports. It is the Wednesday edition of the YSN Power Hour. It is July 15th, and it is National, you ready for this? Giveaway Day. So what does that mean for us? It means we're going to give away a t-shirt here at YSN. So we're going to have a question later on in the broadcast. Make sure you're tuned in for your opportunity to win it. You're going to have to know your YSN history a little bit, but we are going to do a giveaway here from our HQ in East Palestine, and we are all over the board here, guys, because in Canfield we have Quinn Pushkar, Hubbard, we have Jamie Thompson. EB, where are you at? You in Salem? Where are you?
I'm in Columbiana.
You're in Columbiana. I feel like every time I ask you if you're in Salem, the answer is going to be I'm in Columbiana. We got Tristan. Tristan is our relative, Carmen San Diego, all over the globe, and I believe he's in New Waterford. Then we have Billy Mack. Billy, where are you at today?
Boardman.
You're in Board. You look real excited. You look pissed is what you look right now. And then you have Anthony Hartwig from our YSN studios in the back here in East Palestine. Guys, we have a ton to talk about, but I want to start the show off on a positive note, and I want to get your kind of understanding and your chiming in of your favorite sports memorabilia. So if you had to pick out one particular of your favorite sports memorabilias, what would it be? And you have to own it. So we're going to start things off the right way. And Quinn, you talked about it earlier. Give everybody an insight of your favorite sports mem.
Well, I got a couple. But I would have to say my favorite one is probably my autographed jersey from Derek Rivers. He played in the Super Bowl a couple years ago with the Patriots, and I'm lucky enough to have a jersey of his personalized and everything for me, framed and everything like that. It's somewhere behind me. I'll try to get a picture of it or something for you guys, but that'd be my favorite one.
JT, what about you?
I'm going to have to go with my New York Yankees hat signed by Mariano Rivera. The guy that signed the spring training game down there in Florida.
Wow, that's impressive. EB, I know you got some good stuff.
Probably I have two. Either the Bob Feller autograph that I had I got to meet him and he autographed a picture for me, or I have a original pair of Michael Jordan's, the 1985s before Jumpman. So
in the box?
No, I do not have the box.
Oh, that would have been. We watched that doc, and if you have like a certain size in the box, like they're worth buku bucks. So, sorry, man, I didn't mean to bring up any bad subject. We're trying to start this off on a good note. T, what do you got?
Anything about that my Omar Fasquelle stuff. I actually have a ball signed by him. It wasn't one he hit, but it was the day, I think it was like his 2000s hit or something. I got a ball signed by Omar. I happened to be at the ballpark that day. So anything with him, and especially that ball.
That's awesome. Billy Mack?
I have one of my favorites is, just because it's an inside story I'm not going to tell here, but I have a signed helmet from Danny Bertolini, the YSU head coach.
Very cool. Very cool. You treasure that. And then Anthony, I'm sure it's something Kansas City.
No, I'm going to go with a little bit of sentimental today. I have the softball that I threw out the first pitch at Georgia Tech with, signed by the team. So that's what I'm going with.
Very cool. I mean, I always love hearing and seeing what people value most because sometimes it's that sentimental story. Sometimes, like Billy, it's an inside job that you don't want to really tell or you don't want to really reveal because it's so special to you. And then sometimes it's just something really cool. Like when my wife gave me an autographed football of Ben Roethlisberger, knowing it's my favorite quarterback. It was very special. So I that's my most cherished piece of sports memorabilia. And by the way, I don't know if you guys caught the shirt. I know EB saw it on Twitter last night, but Billy, I know you're a big fan of this. I can make you up one of these. We know the founder now of the Pittsburgh Clothing Company. So the winningest quarterback in Cleveland since 1999 plays for Pittsburgh. So Michael's not here. I'm really disappointed that he's not here because he would love it. And he'd probably fight me for it. So there you guys go. From all that Browns talk the other day, wanted to make sure that I could wear this for you and jot it down.
Next!
So there is a ton to talk about. We are going to go to Class B first, keep it a little bit light. There were some good games. Ron Potesta had some great calls last night on the network. As I scrambled to try to get the official scores because I pushed too far on the schedule, so I apologize. Some good games, some games that were kind of some busts. Billy, when you've been on both sides of that, where you've been on the right side, the far side, you've been part of some good games, especially the other day against Ballistic. What's your preference? Do you like being part of a close game, or do you like when your team puts up 16 and you know it's kind of out of hand and in your back pocket?
You got to remember, I'm a pitcher. I'm a pitching guy, so I like the low scoring. It's like playing a game of chess. You know, everything you do matters in that game. So it's fun to be in those blowout wins, and well, it's never fun to be in a blowout loss. But so it's good to get some other kids the opportunity to play in those situations. But close games all day.
Here's your scoreboard brought to you by Joe Dickey Electric. Nightline getting an 8-3 victory over the Prospects last night. Then it was Ballistic 6-4 over Whiting. The Astro Falcons 13-3 over Creekside. Eagleware 14-5 over Avalanche. 6-3 Nightline over Ballistic. And Dura Edge 4-1 over Roth Brothers. So you had a little bit of both sides of the spectrum. Some good games and some games that were kind of rough. So one of those situations when you just look at it, and you're going to have nights like that, like Billy said. You always want to be on the right side of the scoreboard naturally, but when push comes to shove, and I'm having trouble. We got somebody else dialing in, and we got so many guys on this screen, I can't even get them in. This is crazy. Hang on. I can't get them in. Oh, there it is. There's Michael. When did you get in here?
Probably about like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, he absolutely snuck in like a ninja. I had no idea. I was like, man, that background looks really familiar, and he's about 10 feet away from me over by the window. So welcome, Michael.
Thank you.
You've got some games tonight. We got some big games tonight on the network,
Yes, we
some
do.
14Us. But none of the news that we're going to cover is bigger than what is going on right now with the OHSAA. And I want to make sure we get the statement right. So we have a graphic for it as well. So let me pull down the banner for a moment and read the statement. This is from July 14th, which was yesterday, and it says as follows, and I quote, "As previously communicated to schools, the OHSAA is moving forward with our normal fall sports seasons, and, as always, each school will determine which sports they sponsor. 3 of the OHSAA's fall sports have already been declared by the governor as low contact, including boys and girls golf, girls tennis, and volleyball, meaning those sports can have competitions between schools. The OHSAA's other fall sports, including cross country, field hockey, soccer, and football, have not yet been approved by the governor to have competitions between schools. Those 4 sports can practice, but the governor must approve competition between schools. The OHSAA is working on the governor's office towards safety protocols and permission for all of these sports this fall." That is stamped, as you see, by the OHSAA. Guys, when you think about this, there was another conversation that came out to where basically the OHSAA said, you guys do what you want to do. You do individually as a district, you can do what you want to do. But if the governor says no, it's no. Is this the biggest cop out in the history of cop outs, or is this the OHSAA stepping back and trying to protect themselves what could be coming down the line? Billy, I know you're adamant about this. This is why you're pissed off. Let's start with you.
I just think this is so weak from them. And it's so typical. They just don't want to make any decision. Nobody wants to say, hey, let's do this and then accept responsibility. It's just so soft to me. Make a decision, live with it, and move forward and figure out the best thing. To me, they said the same thing they said last week or the week before that. Nothing's changed. Football is not in, and tennis is in, volleyball's in. We were talking about this last week. What sports we're in. So this is the same thing. They didn't make any choice yesterday besides to say, hey, schools, it's on you if you guys figure it out. Why do we have what's their point of having the Ohio Athletic Department Association? What's the point of them? They're supposed to be governing our sports. They're not doing anything.
You're absolutely right. No complaints from me. I mean, Michael, you and I had a conversation a while ago about this is something that we saw that week of full contact that schools and organizations were allowed to take part in, but we know why that happened. It was because of the TBT. Now that the TBT's over, the revenue is down. Now we're going to evaluate the TBT and essentially what the contact brought. Are we going to see the cases spike again? And the OHSAA just says, listen, we're backing away from this. I think because personally, and I have no sources, but when you step back and you look at this from a full picture standpoint, it sounds like there is a little communication between the OHSAA and the state. The OHSAA doesn't like what the state's saying, and they're saying, listen, if you want to do it, it's on you. And the schools, this could be a really interesting conversation for schools because now you're talking about, do they want to play particular sports? Do they want to play football? Do they want to play hockey? Do they want to play any of the sports that they do that is over and above contact? Or do they just want to bow out because maybe they're not strong in it? And I'm not saying schools are going to run away, but the opportunity is there. So when you look at it, Mike, do you see schools with the opportunity to bow out where they're not, strong in particular sports?
I don't know. It depends on what the school's decision is. Do they want to have the season to bring in the revenue, even if they have a football team that's going 0-10? Even if it's going to be 25% capacity, do they still want to play that sport or do they bow out? I think most schools are going to want to stay in and keep their sports going, even if football is a low revenue generator because the team, let's be honest, it's not doing so well as opposed to volleyball. Even if it's a good sport and you're getting a lot of revenue, there's still anywhere you go for these volleyball, it's going to be in an enclosed court, such as a basketball court, as it is in Beaver Local and probably everywhere in the state. You're going to have low-capacity fans. I don't think there's any reason or any schools that are going to have to drop out because there is too much money at stake in every sport with the loss of the spring sports.
Do you feel that no revenue sports will go by the wayside because there's nothing coming in? Why put any of our money that's already been being cut from us? Why put any money into those sports?
I don't know why they would be doing that, DJ, but sometimes you have to make a decision about what's best for the kids. What about the let's say the senior tennis players? This is going to be their last season, and you're going to take it away from them because it's not a money generator. It depends if the school cares about the kids. If they do not care about the kids and they're all about bringing in the money for the district, then they're going to axe those sports. But if you have a school that really cares about its kids, that wants to see its seniors play their final season, even if it's in golf and tennis, they're probably going to bring them in because they care about those students. They don't want those senior tennis players who have put in 3 years to that sport, even if it's a no revenue generator. They don't want to see those kids have their senior season axed because they don't bring in any money for the district.
Yeah, I think in a perfect world, you're absolutely right. Unfortunately, when you look at it, schools are businesses too, and if it doesn't make financial sense for them to carry out, I think they're going to have problems with it. EB, you deal with logistics on a daily basis. I mean, what are you seeing from your perspective and from your lens of what the OHSAA came out and said yesterday officially and what you're hearing from all the rumorvilles that are going around here in the area?
I mean, I think it's already been said. It's a story of the OHSAA the whole time. They kind of deflect, and then once the governor says something, then they'll come in and they'll make their choice. Naturally, I would say if you can have football, you'll have football, because football pretty much generates a revenue for all the other sports. I'm kind of confused how cross country is a low contact or is a contact sport. I mean, I guess there is some close quarters when you're running through a race, but I don't see how that falls into something like field hockey, soccer, or football. But I think if it comes down to it, and you leave this decision to all the schools, especially around here where we have a lot of small schools, they're going to have football. I mean, it's a big thing, even though we're small communities, a bunch of small communities, but football at Crestview or Columbia at East Palestine generally drives the cost of all the other sports. So
you're looking at above 50%, of the revenue for the entire year. So when you look at that, you go, okay, where are we going to make this up? And there's not a whole lot of options to utilize right now.
Right. And if you don't do that, honestly, all it's doing is it's laying the groundwork for all these clubs to come in and say, all right, axe your sports programs, come play AAU, come play JO, come play, someone will put together a football club, someone will put together a golf club, and they'll just sit there and reap the benefits. So the LHSAA is either setting the groundwork for these clubs, or they're going to have to make a decision that might not be popular with everyone. So they're between a rock and a hard place. I get it, but as was mentioned, just make a decision, because that's what people have been looking for this whole time.
Anthony, you're nodding your head. What are your thoughts?
I feel like, they're putting the schools in a really tough spot, because sports aside, schools have a lot to figure out alone just getting school back. And now they're putting all these decisions in their laps too. And the responsibility that comes with making these decisions is now getting put on the school's lap, as well as all the stuff that comes with just getting back to school in general. So now schools are in a really tough spot.
I agree with you. Jamie, what are you hearing out in Hubbard? I mean, you're in a different world out in Trumbull County when you look at it. I mean, really, because you have regulations that we don't have here. So what are you hearing? I mean, the mask order is probably going to be in effect at 5/31. Your thoughts on how the OHSA is handling it, and we'll talk about Governor DeWine later and what presser and what we think is going to be the key. But from your standpoint as a recent graduate, I mean, what are you seeing? What are you feeling? And I'm sure you've got friends that are like, what the hell is going on?
Right. I mean, a lot of my friends, I've talked to them. They've been practicing. They're still going through all that stuff, and they're trying their best to keep distance as much as they can. They're going with all the guidelines and everything, but they're kind of disappointed, because they don't know if they're going to have a season, and quite frankly, they don't think they're going to. They kind of see how it's going, and OHSAA with absolutely no leadership, once again, they're just kind of disheartened, and they honestly don't believe they're going to have a season. And it sucks to see, I mean, I hate it for those guys, but that's just how it is right now.
Tristan, you always keep it real 100% of the time. What are your observations?
I'm with Mac on this. I mean, they don't want to make a decision because they don't want to be wrong. They should just roll with it. I mean, shit, just rip the Band-Aid off. At this point, I don't think there's a wrong or a right answer. I really don't. Just rip it off, and then whatever you decide, you just roll with it. I mean,
isn't that essentially what they're doing now, though? I mean, they're kind of dodging out of it. They're just kind of letting everybody play ball the way they want to and letting the schools handle it. I mean, if you're in this situation,
but at the same time, they're not taking accountability for anything, are they, Ben?
No, and I don't think that they ever were supposed to. Do you? I mean, are they supposed to take accountability for the decision one way or the other?
Well, I mean, they make all these rules that we have to abide by anyway, so why wouldn't they help us, help high school out here and make a decision so everyone's done playing the guessing game?
They're the governing body of the Ohio Athletic.
It's a great point.
So that's where I'm at. I mean,
Quinn, what are your thoughts? I mean, you've been quiet, shockingly, the entire time. Where do you fit in on this? Because I mean, you're of the club. You and Eric are both of club sports, but you also wear another hat, and you're a coach of a basketball team. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, being at a small school in Lisbon, we see how football kind of runs revenue for a lot of the stuff that we do. Those small schools need football to happen because, like Eric said, it generates revenue. A lot of those non-revenue sports, I mean, as much as I hate to say it, will probably get axed. I mean, even if they do care about the kids, I get it, but it's tough to be in the spot where you need to make money to survive. And a lot of the smaller schools, I know bigger schools can get away with it a little bit more, but the smaller schools, they need it to survive. They do.
So here's the next question. You are in charge of all the schools in the state playing fall sports. Thumbs up, thumbs down, and why? Well, Quinn, we'll reverse it on you. We'll start with you this time.
Yeah, I'm playing. I'm doing it. Not only because it'll create a domino effect and it'll give the kids, the seniors and stuff like that, it'll give them a season, but it'll generate the revenue that the schools need. So I'm a go for it.
Jamie, thumbs up, thumbs down, and why?
Totally agree. I mean, you just got to go with it. You know, if whatever happens, happens, but you got to give it a shot. I agree.
EB.
I'm a go. I mean, like Jamie and Quinn said, and like Tristan said, just rip the Band-Aid off, go. I mean, we can't sit around and wait forever, or else you can sit here and make the excuse for the next 3 sports seasons. Well, we can't do it because there might be this or there might be that. You know what? Just let's just put our head down, go through, and see what happens.
Tristan?
I'm going to go 100%. You're not going to, get anywhere sitting on the fence. Either roll one way or the other, and I say you just roll with it and you go.
Billy?
Go. Let it fly, man.
Just a thumbs up for him.
Just go.
Love it. Hey.
I'm going with go too. I mean, we all said it. You got to come to a point when you're either going to go or you're not going to go, and you have to make that decision. And you got to go. The kids need the sports. The school needs the sports. They need the revenue. And at some point, you got to just kind of take that risk.
Mike, what are your thoughts?
I'm going to go with the other guys, everybody else. We're going to be going. You got to bring in the revenue. I think you got to keep these fall sports in their rhythm because you axe both spring and fall sports. If you switch these 2 seasons, that's going to screw both these sports, kind of their rhythms up for at least another 2 years. You cannot, I think, even consider switching spring and fall because of the problems it's going to present in the future. I think that I would personally, if I had to make this decision, wait another 5 days, wait for some numbers. But you tell me to make a decision right now, I am going.
So let me play devil's advocate here for all of you, since you're all on the thumbs up side of it. If one player in your conference develops symptoms or is a positive test for COVID-19, what happens then? Do you shut down immediately, or do you continue on, or do you just not play that team? How does that work? I guess because that's the tougher question that these schools are going to have to utilize.
That's hard because you can't just say, all right, Crestview, you got one kid who tested positive. You know what? We're going to hurry up and test you real quick because then the money comes in for testing. How quick are the results going to get back? Like, so yeah, I understand what you're saying. Like, where are the guidelines if someone tests positive? Like, because no one's going to want to take those tests. No one's going to want to wait for the results. By the time the results come in, you're already rolling into another week of football. You know what I mean? So it's hard to. That's a hard question. I don't think there's a right answer for that.
Well, let's just put the example out there, okay? So you're let's say you're an athletic director, and a Thursday walkthrough is typically shells only, right? Or even just
Yep.
helmets. So what you get is you have a kid that comes down with, because the symptoms again are supposed to be non-symptomatic for the first couple of days. So on Thursday you have a kid that, they're going hand-to-hand combat a little bit on the O-line, and let's say a little spit flies, and one kid has corona, doesn't know it yet, and then goes to another kid. Friday, you find out by some, conversations that you have 2 players or have one player with corona, and now another one has been infected. What do you do as an athletic director to call the other side and say, hey, listen, we have 2 guys, and our team has a few guys on our team have corona because of the HIPAA laws. I don't think you can actually say it, but I could be wrong about that. We have 2 players that are down for the count. What are your thoughts on this? I mean, is it a forfeit? Is it a move the game? Is there time enough to move the game? What do you do? Because that's the other side of the coin, guys. You go and play, and this happens. When do you have to shut it down?
There's got to be an agreement between schools and athletic directors. Athletic directors first, and then it trickles down to the teams. But everyone's got to be on the same ground. I think if you're going to want to work it out, in the sense that you're addressing here, I think everyone needs to be on the same page of what you're going to do if that presents itself.
EB, you got one of the smoothest heads on this entire board here. Talk to me about what you would do from an AD standpoint.
I mean, I think it's going to be Quinn and I just did this all last week. I think it's going to be sort of like what Tristan just said too. You're going to have agreements. So before every game, both schools, probably board approved or superintendent approved, sign a waiver. Coaches have to sign waivers, do the checks, and then all the players have to sign the waivers. And you're going to have to do that literally every week, which it's –
What do the waivers do?
What's that?
What's the waivers do?
Cover your ass.
Yeah, it extinguishes liability.
About what? Because they made a federal law of nobody can sue anybody for corona. So why are we doing
because
forms?
I didn't know that.
I didn't hear about that either.
Yeah,
I find that hard to believe because if somebody gets sick and it was, I mean,
you can't because you can't define where it actually originated from. So it's not like you can just sue X. You can't sue YSN if somebody gets sick because it's too hard to diagnose. Like this is
if you know you have it.
It came from them damn bats.
If you know you have it and then you infect somebody else without quarantining, I think then that you have a responsibility and you have liability. I could be wrong, but I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah,
but if you don't have it, then I think you're probably covered.
In the same sentiment, I think if a school put a player out there that does have it, they know they have it, and then someone else gets it because of that. That's
there's lawsuits. There's
so
lawsuits.
what is the sickness rate like? If somebody has coronavirus, what is the percentage that person is contagious and two?
It's very contagious.
Makes you seriously ill.
The death rate is still above 90 or below. I forget which way you go, but the survival rate is 99.9% right? However, there's always that percentage, right? There's always that one.
Yeah, but what percentage is getting like severely sick? Like you have to be you have to put yourself into a hospital because of it. What's that percent?
I mean, there's symptoms that they have. The way I understand it, you lose taste, you lose smell, you a whole bunch of different ones that you can have that we don't want to talk about because they're disgusting.
So I think it would be wouldn't it be like a case by case? Wouldn't you just do it like a case by case? Not every case is going to be the same.
I don't think you can. I think you have to. I mean, it has to be a blanket coverage for everybody.
Well, if you test positive for corona and you have no symptoms, then you're not allowed to play.
That doesn't mean that the person you give it to won't have symptoms.
Correct.
Wear a mask. Let them play with a mask on.
I'm going to be honest. Like if and I'm not scared of the virus. I'm not a mask wearer per se. But if someone openly tells me, "Hey, I got corona, let's hoop it up," I'm probably going to be like, "I'm good. I'm going to go sit over here." You know what I mean? Like I'm probably not going to play. You guys can. I mean, if somebody came up to you and openly said, "Hey, I have the coronavirus. Would you like to play a game of one-on-one?"
No, because masks work in normal life, but masks don't protect from sweat and all the other bodily secretions that come out of you when you're playing a sport. So I'd hang out with you. I maybe play Monopoly with you, but I wouldn't go play one-on-one with you.
Now, I think the difference between wearing a mask when you don't know somebody has it and when somebody has it, when somebody has corona, it doesn't matter if you wear a mask or not. It's too late. The reason they wear the mask is for the preventative, is to prevent the spread of COVID, not to keep yourself safe from somebody who has COVID and you know they have it. You can't go toe-to-toe against somebody who has the virus.
So let's get back to sports for a minute, guys. There's a question out there by Jeremy Bricker that says, what's the difference between playing baseball and playing football? I think there's a lot of differences in playing baseball and playing football. I think the difference for me, and the one that nobody can answer, is the difference between football and basketball for me. Because those are close contact sports. Baseball, you're playing 60 feet 6 inches, minus the catcher being 2 feet from you in that situation. But catchers have masks on. You know what I mean?
It's
one of those situations.
Limited contact too.
And that's why baseball and softball have been given the thumbs up, right?
Yeah, and even with the baseballs, like your team has a group of your team has baseballs, we have base. So like there's kids aren't allowed to be sharing bats, and they're spraying the dugout. At least what the governor has put down to us, we're doing all the things we can. I know at Youngstown Class B anyway.
And you know that there would still be precautions on the football side of things. We're not trying to say we're pro baseball and not pro football by any means. We all want football, trust me. But there are different contact limitations that we're trying to. That's why there's a reason baseball and softball and tennis and golf and volleyball is a little bit harder to understand for me, but I'm all in. If they say it's low contact, I'm all in because volleyball you are close quarters when you bump set and kill, and you're also passing around the same ball both ways. So I am a little bit confused about that, but again, I'm not going to argue it. I'm not going to try to argue against it because that's what happens when you win an argument. You just let it fly. But what other difference do you guys see? Do you think baseball and softball are bad representation of or bad ambassadors for what we're trying to do here with the virus and play amidst a pandemic?
No, I think they're the
I'm good.
they're the perfect kind of start restarting, and that's why we saw it in the summer with Korean baseball, and I've seen it with MLB and summer ball. It's the perfect start to kind of get your feet wet on getting back into sports, in my opinion, because of the fact that they're so spread out, and there's not a lot of instances where you're not 6 feet apart.
I'm buying into that. I mean, really, it's a great question, but one that I think that there's an easy answer to is limited contact. So when you look at this, guys, everybody gave it a go to sports. Now there is a natural presser tonight at 5:30 that has got people wigging out all over. When you look at Governor DeWine, he abruptly cancels his press conference at 2 o'clock yesterday, and now he's got a presser at 5:30 when for the last 4 months or so, he's had pressers at 2 o'clock every single day. Do you feel that something's coming here? Is this a little bit more serious? Do you feel like masks are coming? Do you feel that they're going to shut down the state? Are we going back into quarantine? I just want to get your take. There's a lot of rumors flying around. Tristan, we'll start with you and work back.
They're going to shut down schools. They're going to shut down schools. I think that this is what it is. I think the decision that's going to come out today is going to be schools. It's going to address schools and what's going to go on, which will affect sports directly. That's what I think. I think today's all about schools, in my opinion.
I have a little ace in my pocket on that one, but we'll keep going. EB?
I really don't know. I haven't paid much attention outside of part of me just wants to say it's a different time so everyone can see it. I can totally see him saying, we're done with schools, or it's going to be 2 days in classroom and 3 days out, something like that. Honestly, I have no clue, but I haven't paid much attention since April because it just seems like it's the same thing over and over again. So
no wine with DeWine?
Yeah. It would be a great happy hour for a lot of places. Like $2 off, come wine with the wine, and we'll get rolling. So, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is come 5:30 if you guys want to meet up somewhere. Let's go.
Well, we'll be at Seton Park. If they shut everything down at 5:30, I'll meet you wherever you want to go. But, Ant, you had 3 hours to talk about this with Ron. What are your takeaways?
Well, I'll tell you, I got a little less nervous when Trestle came out and opened up Youngstown State. I think that made me a little less anxious that DeWine was going to shut down the state or anything like that. I do think masks are coming. I think that's going to be a mandate because I just spent a week in Kansas City, and that was kind of the mantra down there where masks were a mandate throughout the whole metro area. And I think that's going to be coming because we already have counties that are mandated to wear masks, and I just think that the next progression would be masks throughout the state. It's not going to be a law. It's going to be a mandate. So you're not going to be able to be arrested for not wearing a mask. Probably just going to be cited.
You're not jumping on the Ron Potesta arrest on site if you don't have a mask on?
It's way too hard to make a law. You can't just come out and say this is a law now and we're going to go with it.
Mike, your thoughts?
I think that is going to be one of two things, and it's the two things everybody's been saying. It's either going to be a mask mandate or it's going to have to do with schools. I think it's too early to make a decision on schools personally. Our first day of school dates around August 22nd, so I'd say maybe first week of August should be when the educated decision should be made on schools. I think it will be a mask mandate because Earlier this week, there was a CDC director that some of the directors said, if we all wear a mask for the next 6 weeks, this thing could be gone by the beginning of September. I don't believe that in the slightest, but that is where everybody's getting. That is where all these governors and all the government officials are getting their information and making their decisions based off of. So I think that it will be a mask mandate based off of that, based off of a couple of those recommendations that I do not believe in the slightest.
I feel like CDC or some of the people in the CDC have stock in masks because they told us to wear masks before. Oh, it'll be gone in 6 weeks. We wore the mask. We did all the quarantine. Guess what? She's still here. Corona's still here. The bitch is never left. So, I mean, you look at it, you just go, okay, listen to that. Billy, you have a dynamic opinion on what's going to happen at 5:30.
Prepare to shut down. Okay, prepare to shut down. If it doesn't shut down, then we're good. I don't care if Jim Tressel comes out and says anything. All right, if the Governor DeWine says, "Hey, we're shutting down," because last time we shut down, it went plateaued for a while. Then expect something like that. Now, what's crazy to me is he's changed his time from 2 to 5:30. Now, what I think he wants to do there is to get more eyeballs. So he has something important to say. He wants a lot of people to listen to. Now, it may not be as crazy as the complete lockdown, but if you prepare for it, then it's not crazy. All right. So I definitely think the masks are coming into play. And like you said, most of the counties are already, I think there's 11 or 12 mandated counties that have to wear it. So, yeah.
JB, you've been living this life for the past week or so. I mean, talk to me. Do you think it's masked? What do you think Governor DeWine's going to have to say?
I could see masks really coming into play here, having to wear them basically everywhere. But, what Max said, I'm just hoping and praying they don't shut everything down because the 15th right now, my brother getting married on the 25th, we got 10 days. If they shut everything down, all that is just scrap, done, over.
Quinn, the masked warrior?
Yeah, I think it's a mask thing. I think it's going to be mandated. Just coming from Indianapolis with Eric, everything was masks. It was pretty much wear it no matter what. So I think that's kind of where it's headed.
I'm very interested. We've been at the in the center of the rumor mill all day, and I've heard everything from Governor DeWine's going to step down to masks to shutdown to this is about sports. What I have a hard time believing, and I'm starting to put the pieces together, because Walmart, Sam's Club, and a bunch of different corporations just made it mandatory starting on July 20th to wear masks. So my question then becomes, naturally, okay, well, what's going to happen between today, Wednesday, July 15th, and July 20th, that I'm not going to get infected or whatever? Like, this is going to send mass chaos. If you have to go to Walmart or Sam's Club or anywhere over the next 5 days, I feel really, really bad for you, because the toilet paper thing's going to happen again. The whole situation where there's going to be one water a piece, all that stuff. This is going to incite a riot. Like, people are going to lose their minds because the fearmongers will be out in full force. And I think when you look at this is a preventative thing. We've seen it. The OHSAA has taken a firm stance on this with their I Want a Season campaign, and it's wear a mask so I can have a season. So if you want to wear a mask and you want to have a season, I'm on board with that, and I will do whatever it takes. But I will tell you this, and I think I said it the other day. If everybody does their part and wears a mask and goes through all of this for the next 4 weeks, if they don't have a season, guys, there will be a riot. There will be, and it'll be like the purge, because you made people do things that they didn't want to do, that they were uncomfortable doing, and they're going to come out and be like, well, after this, we're still not where we need to be, and then shut it down. What do you do then? Like, do you then look at it and say this is all a hoax, or do you look at this and say this is all for a common goal? Anybody want to take this one? Nobody wants to touch it. Okay.
I think a common goal comment. I mean, I think that's where it's headed. But does everyone have the same common goal? No, they don't. But I'm with you. I think there needs to be one.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you full force. I think we're all on the same page that the masks, will be mandated. So let's ask for a mask. It's one of those situations. We're going to take a break here in a minute. But, guys, do you already have a mask? Are you already ready to go? Or
I think
you
I got one in my bag, DJ. I'm ready.
Well, you better have it because we're going to take ours to scene tonight in case they try to kick us out.
Oh, yeah.
Billy's got a
We got
mask.
some Astro ones.
No, we're not allowed to sell Astro gear
I just
on
dirty
our
underwear
program.
on my face.
Jamie, you have to have one, right?
Yeah, I have like 3 or 4 of the surgical ones in my car already, and then my mom bought this Ohio State one. I got one. My dad has one. My mom has one. So we don't have nothing like cloth masks.
Is there anybody here that doesn't have a mask? We're all geared up. We're all ready to go. Love it. All right. So if Governor DeWine comes out and says, hey, you can't go in anywhere without a mask, we're all ready to go. Nothing changes here at YSN. So that's good news for everybody at home. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Coach O and his version of the pandemic and what he says needs to happen in order for Americans to get through this pandemic. We're also going to talk about Cleveland. Too much of the love of the Cleveland fans here. We'll also have our G. Burbick Farms What's Your Beef, and we will have much, much more, and we will hear from you on the YSN Power Hour, sponsored and presented by all these great sponsors at the bottom of your screen.
Hey, my Ohio friends, it's Mike Ditka, and I know great talent and heart when I see it. I can tell you from firsthand experience, there are average real estate agents, then there are true champions. Kelly Warren is one of those champions, and you have her right there in your own backyard. Kelly outmarkets and outsells every agent in the Mahoning Valley. If Kelly can't sell your home at a price and deadline you agree to, Kelly will buy it. Get your home sold. Call Kelly Warren today at 717-2689 or go online to kellysoda.com and start packing.
And welcome back to the YSN Power Hour. Me and a group of friends all with you. Oh, Jamie's got the mask on. Oh, my gosh.
Had to go grab it.
That scared the hell out of me. Guys, Coach O, the reigning champion coach at LSU, saying the country needs football during this pandemic. Need, want, and have to have are 3 different things. From your perspective, does the country need football in order to move forward and give them something to do? Let's start with our resident football expert, Mr. Billy McCartney, fantasy football champion. 1992.
Yeah, I think 1992. I think they do need football. I think there's just so much money, and it's not just money, it's a trickle down effect. There's just so many things. Cleveland remembers the idea when LeBron left, how that affected business in general. I mean, you go down to Columbus, there's a lot of places that say Ohio State Bakery, Ohio State Bar, Ohio State Eddie George Cafe. There's so many things down there that run off of the college football season. And if those places aren't open, they probably won't exist next year.
Jamie, your thoughts on, does the country need football, whether it's high school, local, or pro?
I don't know if we necessarily need it, but I know everybody wants it, And like Matt said, there's a lot of businesses that are going to be affected if we don't have football. But I just don't know. I wouldn't say that we need it as a country. But there are a lot of aspects that do need football.
Quinn?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with both of them. We don't need football, but we need something to start building back on. Whether it's football or some type of sports we need, just to get us kind of back to normal.
Mike?
I think that, yes, they do need college football this season and football in general because of the money that it generates. Because over the past few months, in especially March, April, and May, when the country was just completely shut down, nothing's open until May 26th, things started to reopen, and it was certain things you needed a mask. The economy in not only the states, but in just the country overall took such a big hit that I think a football season could generate enough revenue and bring our economy up enough and keep it from hitting another big bump per se and go down, take the big hit that it did back in April and May. I think that from a revenue, money, and economy standpoint, yes, college football is needed. From a fan standpoint, just to get it on the TVs, no, it does not. That's a want. But in terms of money, it's a need.
Ant?
Yeah, in the term of a life-sustaining property, it's not a need. But in the term of these athletic departments, especially when you talk about colleges, they're going to need football to sustain themselves because we saw a couple of sports get X here and there over the quarantine. We're going to see a lot more of them if there's no college football, especially in the mid-major schools. And a lot of athletic departments and a lot of sports are going to cut if there's no football to bring in that revenue.
Well, let me send a twist to the last two here because the question is, does the country need football? Not will there be fans to generate revenue. So does the country just need to watch football to kind of forget about some of the hardships they're going through right now? Or, not necessarily what we're talking about from the standpoint of, what it does from a revenue side, how many dollars it brings in. EB, does the country need football just black and white?
I think yeah, we do. Like from a mental health standpoint, from just a normalcy standpoint, it's not like we need it in a sense that if we don't have it, we're gonna die. But we need it because it's a part of our life. It's an American thing. Like it's just, I would find it as equivalent as having soccer in Europe. Like, if they don't have it, are they all going to die? No, but it's a way of life. So I think, yeah, we do need football, and especially coming from Coach O and SEC country, it's probably 10 times greater down there. But, Ohio's a huge football state as well. So I think we do need it, and it would help in all facets of life.
Let's go down to Peekaboo down in the corner. Tristan, what's up?
Yeah, football definitely needs to be played, and I know what Michael said, like it's a want more than a need, but at this point in time, we need everything. So let's go. I think football needs to be played, in my opinion.
All right, that's big for Coach O to come out and say it. I think he's saying what everybody's thinking. I don't think it's a need necessarily, but that want, kind of on the same coattails that you guys have kind of walked through already. America would love to see football to take their minds off of this for 3 hours a day, or for, if it's a Sunday for 6 hours a day, 8 hours a day, whatever it is, that you allot your time to watch professional sports or sports in general. I know for us, our weekends we're going to be crazy here on a Friday night, on a Saturday watching college football all day, and on Sundays watching pro football. And now all of that's up in the air, so that's a little bit frustrating from a team standpoint. But it's certainly not something like if it went away, it would affect our livelihood because it's what we do in sports. But it wouldn't be something that I would give up one of my daughters for or give up my marriage for. I can tell you that right now. And there's some people that maybe they would give that up, but I have, that's pretty sad. But it is what it is. Let's talk. Oh, jump the gun a little bit here. This is interesting to me. I saw this and I thought there's a lot of meat on the bone here. Cleveland ranked number 1. Congratulations, by the way, as the most the most stressed city in America, according to Wallet Hub. Guys, do you agree with this? Do you feel stressed already being a Browns fan? Can you get on board with this? And how do you plan on celebrating your championship? We'll start with our greatest Cleveland fan, Mr. Quinn Pushkar.
I was going to say, I want to see
joke. Number 1 stressed in America? That's a joke. Have they ever been to Flint, Detroit? God.
Right.
I wouldn't dare go into Flint or Detroit, ever. So, number 1, that's a joke. Is it stressful being a Browns fan? No. Because every year's our year, and this year's going to be our year. We're going to win it. So,
every time you say something dumb, you take a drink. It's like you're playing your own drinking game.
Come on, have you been to Flint, Michigan?
It's stopping.
I would live in Cleveland.
You can't even take a drink of that water you got there in Flint, Michigan.
Exactly.
It's bad news. We're not going to get on that topic, but you see, he did it again. You're playing your own drinking game. It's not fair.
Every time Gwen says something stupid, take a drink of Mountain Dew.
That's it. I mean, he's taking the Power Hour quite literally here on YSN. Incredible. Every time something dumb, Quinn goes down it goes. Like a
Thing's
nice.
dumb. Number one most stressed in America. That's stupid.
I feel like you're stressed.
Never.
He's too blessed
Let's
to be
talk
stressed.
about. Yesterday we talked about you cleaning the windows. Today you had to clean the floors. Why did you have to clean the floors?
I just voluntarily swept the floor. I didn't have
No,
to.
no.
I voluntarily swept.
Let's come
I got
out and tell
bored and I
everybody
got
why you had to sweep
voluntarily
the
swept
floors.
it.
Why
That's
did
all
you have
it
to
was.
sweep the floor? Go ahead and tell EB because
bored.
EB knows.
I was bored. I voluntarily swept the floor. That's
You didn't forget anything at home like that's vital to you doing your everyday job here.
I could do everyday jobs from all sorts of stuff.
So Quinn, since he's not going to
Makes
tell
no
you,
type of sense.
It had nothing to do with me forgetting it.
completely forgot his laptop. So he rolls in here in his beautiful Mustang and he strolls through the door with his sunglasses like he usually does. And he says, hey, I forgot my laptop. And I just looked at him and said, so what are you going to do today? Oh,
Voluntarily
I
swept the
don't care.
floor. That's all.
I don't care. So he swept the floor. He punished himself. I mean, that's self punishment that Quinn swept the floors because yesterday he had to wash the windows because he didn't have the blog done that EB practically handed to him.
Whatever.
Am I lying, EB?
Nope.
Straight up.
That post was funny. It's like, and then a little bit of Quinn push guard so he didn't lose his job.
I mean, I feel like it's true, dude. I gift wrapped it to him, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna change some stuff so it looks like both of us did it."
There's a lot of stuff that goes into it.
And
He put
a
a
lot
T
of
on
stuff,
it.
dude. I'll send the original to DJ, and he can check it out, and we'll see. All you did was change Eric and myself.
Made a video.
By Eric Bailey to
Made a
by
video.
Quinn Pushkar. He made his video that all it was just clips just dropped into iMovie. So congratulations, Quinn. Thanks for your dynamite drop in. Jamie, let's back to the subject here. Cleveland, number one most stressed city in America. Do you believe it? Do you buy into it? And how are you going to celebrate your championship?
I could believe it. They could be stressed about really one of three things at any time. Going 0-16 again for the Browns, the Cavs wasting another number one draft pick, or the Indians blowing another 3-1 lead. So, I could see the city of Cleveland just being stressed out all the time, worried about doing something terrible again.
The dude that lives in Margaritaville 24/7, Billy McCartney, talk to me about your team in your city, number one stressed in
What's
in
there to
America.
be stressed? We went. How many years did we go without a championship? We just won one in 2016. Okay, the Browns are winning the Super Bowl this year, so I don't see what the problem is.
Get the hell out of here.
It's like I haven't heard
Said
that
my-
before.
I'll give
said my
everyone
piece.
here $10.
Oh my!
Said my
If
piece.
you put money on the Browns this year, you'll win a lot. Let's just put it that way.
I'm not allowed to bet on the Browns.
Nobody should be allowed to bet on the Browns.
Oh, zinger! There it is. And we move on to Michael McKenzie, who is a Pittsburgh fan. Your feelings, sir, on Cleveland, number one ranked most stressed city in America.
I mean, it's not only their teams that they got to stress about, it's some of the players in every team. The Cavs, it's about getting a player on that team that can play nearly as good as LeBron did and get that team more than 15 wins in a season. It's about hoping Baker Mayfield can throw under 23 picks this season and hoping Myles Garrett doesn't go haywire on Mason Rudolph again and get himself suspended for the end of the season. It's in Cleveland. Let's see if they can keep Francisco Lindor, which, let's be honest, they probably won't because they don't want to pay him, and then he'll go win a chip with another team. He'll probably go – I don't know where he goes, quite honestly, but he'll
Go play with Mike
team
Trout. Yeah, babe.
that goes to Los Angeles, replaces Simmons at shortstop for the Angels. But I just think Cleveland, their sports is what makes them a stress city, and also they've been under construction since the day they've been established. There's always construction in that city. Oh yeah, and DJ Sturt is a very good representation of that.
I told
too.
you you'd love it, guys. I told you.
I was backstage waiting for you to put me in when you showed that shirt off.
And what are your thoughts on Cleveland, the most stressed city in America?
I think Quinn brought up some good points. Maybe real life situations. There are some cities that probably have a little bit more stress than Cleveland, a little bit more stuff going on. But when you come to sports and their fandom of Cleveland, Cleveland's up there. If they're not one, they're in the top five. I mean, I can think of some other cities, maybe Ann Arbor.
They're 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5.
I like that 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There are probably some cities that don't have a sports team. They're like stressing just to get a sports team. something to root for. But yeah, I think they're definitely up there when we're talking about sports stress and the stress of the fan of the sports. Yeah, Cleveland's probably up there.
EB, you buying this?
It's a mistake on the lake for a reason, right?
I mean, I can't speak about the Browns. I'm not a Browns fan, but from everything else, from a standpoint, yeah, because when you're always banking on next year, then you're probably pretty stressed that something's going to go bad this year. I mean, it's a pretty simple concept, but if they did win a championship, I was up there when the Cavs won it, and I thought the place was going to burn. And legit, I think you had 4 people arrested for peeing in public. Outside of that, everyone just hugged each other. So if they're that stressed and when they do win, those dudes might be dry humping each other till the next championship.
T, put a bow on it for us.
Yeah, Cleveland sucks. So yeah, I mean, it's stressful just being there. I like going to Indians games. Don't get me wrong. I like my favorite player.
No, you can't go. You can't backtrack now. Own it.
I can do whatever the hell I want. No, I mean, it's just the reason Cleveland's stressful for me is driving in there. I can't drive at Cleveland, man. I can't. I just want to pull over and get the hell out. That's why. So I don't know.
That should be their motto.
That way, sports wise, obviously. So
Cleveland
just sucks.
Pull over and get the hell out. Let's go on to our G. Burbick Farms. What's your beef? This one should be relatively easy. I almost said it. There's a lot to talk about that we don't like. There's a lot of beef on the table. Brought to you by G. Burbick Farms. Billy, I want to let you have the stage for a moment, please.
My beef is Corona and the Ohio Athletic Association. Period. It's plain and simple. I'm sick of it. Sick of the indecisiveness. I'm sick of the not making decisions, and I'm just sick of Corona in general. I'm tired of it. I just need to move forward and go back to normal and coach baseball and train baseball and watch football. Period.
Right, that is a great statement. Let's see if I can figure out the next most pissed off person. Quinn, let's go to you.
Yeah, the mask thing, that's about the only beef I got is I'm not wearing a mask. I don't want to wear one. So
it covers up that beautiful beard of yours.
Well, I can't. Like, this is a problem when it comes to a mask.
It's too luscious.
Just tuck your your beard.
I tried. It doesn't work. It just doesn't fit and work. So I don't know. I'm not wearing one.
Jamie?
I think my only beef right now is the styrofoam in the bottom of the cups on the golf course right now, because that's why I'm not making any putts. You don't see the pros with any styrofoam in the cup.
Styrofoam in the cups?
Yeah, so you don't.
Yeah, it's kind of like the pool.
That's why I don't make any putts.
It's like a pool noodle that got cut into.
Yeah.
Why are they doing that?
I got no idea. But you're not supposed to take out the flag stick, so I guess if they leave that, it's easier to reach in and just grab your ball instead of going all the way to the bottom of the cup. I honestly have no clue.
Corona is really starting to strike me as like the crazy girl that goes to the dance stag, and she just shows up hammered drunk, and she's just really pissed off and is looking to wreck the dance for everybody. Like, that's, if you had to be a person and describe Corona, that is like who it is. I'm really hoping that nobody names their daughter Corona after this. That'd be bad news. Really bad news. Michael, your G. Burbick Farms beef.
It's probably going to be, I get that at the end of the day, all these things like the OHSAA and the schools, their businesses. But it's going to, my beef is probably going to be that sports like cross country that don't bring in much revenue, that tennis that don't bring in much revenue, that golf don't bring in much revenue. I'm a golf guy too. I would say they got to put 90% chance of probably getting axed because they don't bring in any revenue, and because right now it's about bringing in the money for the district because of all of the revenue that they lost with the axing of spring sports and spring school from March 14th on. These school districts have earned little to probably nothing in terms of revenue, and that's going to be the reason that golf, tennis, cross country, and all those sports that bring in little to nothing are probably going to get axed this fall.
It's going to be interesting. Anthony, your take on your what's your beef?
Well, I'm going to go with the OHSA too, but for a little bit different reason. I spoke on it. I mean, putting this burden on the schools right now, when they already have so much on their plate on how to bring back school in general for everybody, not just their athletes. But now they have the burden of trying to make that decision themselves on what sport they're going to play, how they're going to play it, the protocols they're going to put in place. it's just putting unneeded burdens on these schools, and that's something that I'm kind of upset about.
EB?
I'm going to piggyback off of Hartwig. We definitely need school back. I was talking to a player last night. She had no clue who Jeffrey Dahmer was, and she thought the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor. So, I mean, that just tells you all you need to know. Get these kids back in school.
T, go ahead.
I like what Billy said, man. So just make a decision. That's been my beef for the last 2 weeks. Just make a freaking decision and roll with it. Also, the weather lately, because I run with the trash bag on. I almost died the other day. Give me like 70 degrees, please.
You know you don't have to wear the trash bag, right? It's like an accessory.
It's an addiction.
It's something.
An addiction now.
It's something. My beef today is going to be the people that are clamoring for all these sports, but don't see the opportunity for baseball. Baseball has the opportunity, and softball for that matter, have the opportunity to pick things up in the fall again, regardless if football plays, cross country, you name that sport that's not able to play. I would love to see schools come together and revitalize baseball programs and softball programs in the area, in the Mahoning Valley, because I think we've got the talent that can really take it to the next level and rejuvenate baseball the way it should be. So hopefully that happens. If all the fall sports get canned, or the ones that are on the table get axed, I would love to see baseball and softball take center stage and show people that it is America's favorite pastime. That is my G. Burbick Farms. What's your beef? My friends and all had their beef too, and you can have your beef at gburbickfarms.com. Their farm to your freezer. It's gburbickfarms.com. And guys, before we go, I want to give another reminder to the Raider Golf Classic, as I'm covering it up with a banner. Thanks. At South Range Athletic Boosters 31st Annual Raider Golf Classic. That is going to be on Friday, July 31st, 2020. Go to RaiderGolf.com to sign up. Everything you need is right there on the website. Go to RaiderGolf.com. It's all sponsored by Nightline. It's going to be held at the Flying Bee Golf Course. It used to be at the one in Columbiana. The what is that? What is that called? Which one is that, guys? That is, I'm trying to remember. The Firestone Farms. Thanks for the help. Appreciate it. It's no longer there. It's at Flying Bee Golf Course.
We got you.
Yeah, right there, man. You guys have been dynamite today. Bunch of Quins hanging around. But we will be here tomorrow from 3 to 4. We're excited to bring that show. We will have a lot to talk about, guys. Make sure you're tuned in 5:30 tonight for this Governor DeWine interview, this presser that's going to come out, because we are going to dissect it like you've never seen tomorrow, especially if it regards the athletics and schools. So make sure you're tuned in for that. Class B action tonight. I'll be on 1, Mike's on 2, Andrew's on 3, and that is going to do it for the YSN Power Hour. Thanks to our sponsors. Thanks to you out in wherever you are, and thanks to these guys right here. You make it possible. We couldn't do it without you. So long, everybody.